Folks need to take cover immediately. This is a very, very dangerous weather situation as this system comes in from the west and northwest side of town. That is indeed debris flying around.
Look at it swirling. It's going to go right down now. Look, it's all coming together.
On April 16, 1998, one of the most significant tornado outbreaks of the 90s would impact the southern US, most of which in Tennessee. Multiple violent tornadoes would impact the state. One of these tornadoes would impact downtown Nashville, and another mile-wide F5 tornado would impact rural areas around Lawrenceburg, Tennessee. In this video, we will analyze the Nashville tornado as it went through downtown. We will also dive into the meteorological setup, the outbreak, and the effects on the communities impacted by the tornadoes. But first, let's look back at the tornado season before April 16th. January saw 47 tornadoes, 3 of which were significant, injuring 10. February saw 76 tornadoes, 6 of which were significant, including Florida's deadliest tornado outbreak, injuring 276 and sadly killing 42. March saw 70 tornadoes, 16 of which were significant, 8 of which were from one supercell in Minnesota, injuring 240 and sadly killing 16. The start of April alone saw 84 tornadoes, including the downtown Birmingham F5. The start of April sadly saw 43 deaths and 353 injuries. It wasn't long till the National Weather Service were anticipating another large tornado outbreak, as a very conducive setup for severe weather was assembling across the region. Temperatures are reaching the mid-80s and dew points are in the mid-60s. An upper-level trough is moving in, and a low-level jet is also in place. Cape valleys are also over 2,000 joules per kilogram. With these conditions in place, the SPC issues a level 5 high risk for the region. Although the day before, similar intense weather conditions are in place, and the SPC issues a level 5 high risk centered on Arkansas. 24 tornadoes would touch down as a large MCS with indiscrete supercells embedded in the line would move across Dixie Alley. Most of these tornadoes were weak and insignificant, but late in the night, a large F4 would badly damage many homes in and around Manilla, Arkansas. It would sadly kill 2 people and injure 12. Later that night, an F2 and an F3 would impact rural areas in Tennessee. The F2 thankfully killed no one, but the F3 sadly killed another 2 people before the night was over. At 6:10 a.m., a large wedge tornado would touch down in Dickson County. Although it only tracked for 2 miles, it was 3/4 of a mile wide. It also hit several homes at F3 intensity, badly damaging them. It would injure 5, but thankfully kill no one. At 9:20, another F3 would impact Montgomery and Robinson County. The tornado was 400 yards wide and tracked 7.2 miles, ripping the roof off a school and causing F3 damage to several homes. At this point, the morning line of storms was moving away and weather forecasters were now turning their attention to the day ahead. The sun began to shine across the region as the morning line of storms moved off. With the unstable conditions and the added heat from the sun, the air would soon become unstable. Before long, storms would begin to develop and form into large supercells. One of these storms stood out in particular, not just because it was rapidly intensifying into a large tornadic supercell, but also because of where it was headed, right toward downtown Nashville. It wasn't long till a rapidly rotating wall cloud would begin to drop to the ground, and at 3:30 p.m. the infamous Nashville tornado would touch down. The tornado would soon grow to over half a mile wide and become partially rain-wrapped, making it invisible to those in the path.
I'm gonna stay with it as long as I can.
Oh my. Over here? Where is it? Is it coming from over there?
I need a tripod.
It might be coming from back there.
Tell me, bro.
Let's go! Let's go! Get back in! Phil, get back in here!
Phil, get back! We're all right, we're all right.
The tornado is now at F1 intensity, as windows of houses and businesses are blown out.
Have Phil shoot some of that. I'm all right. I'm all right. I'm all right. I'm all right. You guys just hold. All right. You guys just sit in there. Look at the train. Everything's all right.
The tornado begins to impact skyscrapers, completely blowing out their windows. Three cranes at a construction site were knocked down by the intense winds, but thankfully only minor damage occurred to the construction site itself.
Back in the building. Back into the building.
So folks need to take cover immediately. This is a very, very dangerous weather situation as this system comes in from the west and northwest side of town. That is indeed debris flying around, so there's no doubt we have a rotation showing up. We've just lost that News 2 City Cam. Go to Storm Tracker right here at Hyman Street and 24th Avenue. That's where the rotation is showing up on the latest radar sweep from Hopkinsville. And again, this is the area. And see, there it is. You can clearly see this hook area in this precipitation band right here. This is one of those areas where it's very likely we could have rotation happening, but we're getting reports on the south
The tornado
side of
would
town that we
narrowly
have
miss the campus of Vanderbilt University as it would continue to intensify and grow larger. The tornado's first and only fatality would occur at Nashville Centennial Park. Unfortunately, a Vanderbilt University ROTC cadet was pinned down by a tree and sadly passed away from his injuries.
Wait till he gets out. Wait till he comes up.
He's here. Okay, quick.
Sorry.
The tornado now descends on East Nashville, beginning to peak in intensity. Many homes suffered severe roof and structural damage as the tornado moved through. The Cornelia Fort Airport would suffer a direct hit from the tornado. 30 planes at the airport would suffer intense damage. The tornado would cross the Cumberland River for a second time and bear down on the city of Hermitage. Thousands of trees were snapped or uprooted in the Hermitage estate, but thankfully all major properties would see no significant damage. The F3 tornado would move into the city of Mount Juliet, where a baseball field and lumberyard would see significant damage. The tornado begins to weaken and eventually dissipates after 28 miles on the ground. The tornado would injure 60 and sadly killed 1. It also caused over $100 million in damages, making it one of the costliest tornadoes in US history at the time. But another storm is approaching Nashville and produces another tornado. Thankfully, it only touched down after leaving Nashville and remained mostly over rural areas, injuring and killing no one. Again, another storm is headed towards downtown Nashville and produces another tornado. Thankfully, it only blows out skyscraper windows, injuring and killing no one. At this point, an intense supercell is headed toward Bowling Green, Kentucky, and produces 3 tornadoes. The first one was an F3 which went through the Bowling Green metro, sadly killing 2 and injuring 9. The second tornado was an F2 which sadly killed 1, and the third an F3. This storm also produced one of the worst hailstorms in Kentucky history, with massive amounts of baseball-sized hail which caused damage to cars, homes and businesses. The hail also clogged drains which caused extreme flooding, destroying many cars. Total damage amounted to over $500 million. As all this was happening, an isolated supercell was exploding near the Alabama border, and at 3:50 p.m. it produces its first tornado. The tornado rapidly intensified into an F4 wedge. 2 people were killed on Lay Creek Road in a mobile home, and another person was killed in a wooden frame home. The tornado left nothing but the foundation. A lumber yard was completely destroyed and many trees were downed in the path of the tornado. After over an hour, the tornado would lift after over 30 miles on the ground. It would sadly kill 3 and injure 9. At this point, the storm was capable of producing another tornado, but no one knew just how strong the next one would be. Before long, Doppler radar was showing rapidly increasing rotation, as well as a large, well-defined hook echo, both showing that a tornado could be on the ground.
No, look at it!
Yeah. Here it is.
Look at that thing!
Soon, storm spotters had confirmed that a large wedge tornado was on the ground and was rapidly intensifying. Within just minutes, the tornado had become violent, snapping and uprooting thousands of trees in the Wayne and Lawrence County areas.
Raymond's leaving.
Vehicles in the path of the tornado were thrown hundreds of yards. Some, like this vehicle, were mangled beyond recognition. At this point, we have 2 synced videos, one from Doug Alley and another from a Tennessee resident.
Don't turn back, that's for sure. hanging in that closet.
Now watch as this tornado grows into a mile-wide wedge.
Here it is.
At this point, the tornado is reaching peak F5 intensity, as homes were leveled or completely swept away, and some trees were completely debarked.
South than I had anticipated being. But
the last report we had was near the West End Fire Hall, and so some of the folks out there, the firefighters out there are talking about that. So they did say it was on the ground earlier, and I'm not sure if it's still reported to be so or not.
Okay, we're still getting reports from the public that and from the authorities that a tornado does exist on the ground in the northwestern corner of Lawrence County, portion of Lawrence County. Now they're saying Cruz Road and Hudson Road. Again, we're still waiting to hear information from the public in those areas. So just stay with us. We're going to take a break from it for a moment and gather our eggs back in our basket. And Danny will be back with this to show you what else we want. Okay?
Pieces of debris fall out of the sky as the tornado hits homes, leveling them or completely sweeping them away. The tornado peaks in intensity as large chunks of topsoil are torn out of the ground towards the center of the tornado's wind field. The tornado would continue on and gradually weaken and dissipate after over 19 miles on the ground. It would injure 21 and thankfully kill no one, likely because of the ample warning time and the rural area that the tornado tracked through, and the photogenic nature of the tornado led to 0 deaths.
This is when that thing come up.
Summertime is clear. Henryville, all the area center, all that area is now clear of any substantial precipitation.
Oh my goodness, it's all right down in the road.
Hello?
Oh, man. Point blank right here.
Meanwhile, another supercell was producing a large wedge tornado. 40 homes, 22 mobile homes, and 100 barns were destroyed. 2 greenhouses were also heavily damaged. 4 people were injured, but thankfully no one was killed. As this was happening, the Lawrenceburg supercell was cycling and producing another F4 wedge. Many homes were destroyed and some were leveled. Mobile homes were obliterated as the 3/4 of a mile wide F4 tornado would pass through. It would injure 9 but thankfully kill no one. At this point, the outbreak is beginning to wind down, with a few more tornadoes, including some intense ones, but at this point, the outbreak is almost over. Altogether, from April 15th to the AM hours of the 17th, 64 tornadoes touched down, injuring over 150 and sadly killing 12. The Nashville tornado was the first major tornado to hit the downtown of a large city in over 20 years. This made the tornado infamous, and most news crews would document the destruction in Nashville, which meant that other extremely notable tornadoes, such as the Lawrenceburg F5, would be forgotten. This earned the tornado's name, the Forgotten F5. The areas impacted by the tornadoes would thankfully in time recover, although would still leave scars persisting for generations. As the sun set that day, the people who were impacted by the tornadoes knew that April 16th was a day that they were never going to forget.
All right, folks, you need to head to your safe place. This tornado is on the ground. It is moving right by Channel 5 as we are getting close to a direct hit at the TV station.
On March 3rd, 2020, history would repeat itself as a large high-end EF3 went through downtown Nashville. At one point, it crossed paths with the 1998 tornado. This tornado would sadly kill 5 and injure 220, and cause $1.5 billion in damage. Interestingly, this outbreak is very similar to April 16th, as another stronger tornado would touch down. The city of Cooksville was hit by a large EF4, which would tragically kill 19 people and injure 87. But like the Lawrenceburg F5, it was seemingly forgotten amidst the destruction downtown. I won't go into too much detail about this outbreak as it deserves a video of its own. Consider liking and subscribing to see more tornado documentaries like this one. And with that said, thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed.